Good morning, MPC. Good morning, PCO Assistant Secretary Chris Ablan. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Alvin. Magandang umaga po sa lahat and welcome to the weekly economic press briefing hosted by the Economic Development Cluster and PCOO. This week, we shall tackle the Pantawid Pasada program of the Duterte administration under the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN law. We understand that our jeepneys remain one of the backbones of our urban transport network due to affordability and accessibility. The Pantawid Pasada program aims to help our hard-working jeepney operators and drivers cope with the excise tax on diesel fuels with subsidies via fuel vouchers or fuel cards for more than 179,000 legitimate jeepney franchise holders. Contrary to popular opinion, fuel excise under the TRAIN law is not anti-poor. More than half of the total fuel consumption in the whole country is consumed by the top 10% richest households. TRAIN was enacted to encourage fair and reasonable usage of imported fossil fuels and ensure that the government will have funds to provide for better infrastructure, health, education, jobs, and social protection for all Filipinos. Last July 11, the Joint Memorandum Circular for Pantawid Pasada was signed by the implementing agencies, and now, jeepneys across the nation are receiving their fuel cards and fuel vouchers from the Land Bank of the Philippines. During the signing ceremony, Department of Budget and Management Secretary Benjamin Jokno said, "We are hopeful that this program will provide relief to our transport sector as we all continue to work towards our vision of real change, a better and more inclusive Philippines." Now, to explain a few details of the Pantawid Pasada program, let us all welcome Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB Chairman Martin B. Delga III. Chairman Delga.
A pleasant morning to everyone here present. Let me take this opportunity to thank the LTFRB team, the implementing agency of the Pantawid Pasada program, the DOTR, under the leadership of Secretary Art Tugade, and our partner agencies, Department of Energy, Department of Budget and Management, Department of Finance, as well as Land Bank of the Philippines, all working together and in earnest to ensure the success of the program. To briefly explain the Pantawid Pasada program, it is one of the social mitigating measures provided in the TRAIN law. Its goal is to provide targeted relief to the public transport sector, particularly the PUJ, to cushion the impact of fuel prices brought about by the excise tax. The TRAIN law prescribes the allotment and provision of fuel vouchers to qualified franchise holders of public utility jeepneys, or PUJs. Approximately 179,000 units under valid franchises nationwide are expected to benefit from the program. Each recipient will receive fuel subsidy of 5,000 pesos for this year, and as proposed, 4 times as much next year. On July 16, 2018, LTFRB, working closely with partner government agencies, as mentioned above, started processing claims and distributing fuel cards to qualified PUJ franchise holders in Metro Manila. Yesterday, August 28, the agency started the simultaneous distribution of fuel cards to 9 regions in the Philippines. The rest of the 5 regions we will start distributing in the next 10 days to 2 weeks time. Significant and important work has been done, yet much work still remains to be done, and there are still challenges to face. LTFRB and Land Bank in particular continue to work tirelessly to ensure the success of the program, so that we are able to provide assistance to as many qualified beneficiaries, our PUJ operators and drivers, who are important stakeholders we are mandated to serve. Because we're confident that when we help improve the situation of our operators and drivers through these programs, such as the Pantawid Pasada, we would also be able to help improve the commuting experience of the riding public, who are our most important stakeholders. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to present a brief PowerPoint presentation on the Pantawid Pasada program. As an update, the Pantawid Pasada program, as mentioned in the train law, Section 88 thereof, is actually a fuel subsidy program to qualified franchise holders of public utility vehicles. So it's very clear that when we talk about beneficiaries, we're looking at legitimate qualified PUJ franchise holders. Ibig sabihin, yung may mga prangkisa, hindi po kolorum. Next slide. Those eligible, as prescribed by the train law, as I've said earlier, qualified franchise holders of PUJ, and that the program duration shall be implemented for 2 years, 2018 until next year, as aligned with the transition period of the PUV modernization program, which will end sometime middle of 2020. Throughout the Pantawid Pasada cards, through the Pantawid Pasada cards issued by Land Bank, the subsidy shall be for fuel purchases only to all participating petroleum retail outlets in consideration of authorized amounts allocated. No? So yung card po, the Pantawid Pasada card, it's a specially made card with the following features on the card itself. No? You have the full name, or you have the surname and the initial first name of the franchise holder. And then you have the plate number of the vehicle, meaning the PUJ, and then the franchise number, the one at the second line. And then you have the region where the route is, or where the PUJ is operating. Okay? And the last line is actually the account number of the franchise holder, considering the fact that when they get the card, it's actually like opening a bank account as well. The requirement is fairly simple. They would just have to submit a 1-by-1 photo and a photocopy of a valid government-issued ID. And they will bring the original of the government-issued ID at the card distribution center, together with the photo, as well as a proof of franchise, to be sure that they are the recipient of the Pantawid Pasada card. And so when they get at the card distribution center, the beneficiary will just sign the enrollment form, which are already prepared by Land Bank beforehand, and sign a deed of undertaking. The deed of undertaking, by the way, is actually a commitment on the part of the beneficiary that they are to use the card for the purpose for which it was intended. The distribution guidelines would include that LTFRB will identify the Land Bank servicing branches, because they will be spread out all over the country. In one region, for example, in Region 4, where by way of land area is the biggest in the country. If you would recall, it's composed of 2 sub-regions, Mimaropa and Calabarzon, and a number of these are actually island provinces, and for which reason there would be a number of card distribution centers than usual, because what would normally happen in other land-based regional offices is that if there are only a few number of cards, or a few hundred number of cards to be distributed, it would just be at either at the main branch of Land Bank in that area or at the regional office of LTFRB. So these distribution centers, by the way, are already identified, and that the regional directors were already directed weeks before the actual distribution, which started yesterday, to engage the public through the media for purposes of information dissemination on where the distribution would take place. And that the claiming of the cards will be scheduled as per operator assigned by the LTFRB. Okay. The list of beneficiaries are actually posted at the entrance of the assigned distribution center, but they're also posted in the website, so that for those beneficiaries who are interested to know whether their name is in the list, they can go into the LTFRB website and go to the menu where the Pantawid Pasada program is, and just click the list. Claiming the cards would require personal appearance of the franchise holder, pretty much like opening a new bank account. Okay. And the claiming process is fairly simple. No? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So just check on the list and then prepare the requirements, the 3 requirements as I mentioned earlier. And then they will just go to the card distribution center, and then they will be able to get the cards. When they get the card, they will go to the nearest ATM for it to be activated. So, ganun lang ang gagawin nila. As mentioned, the assumptions insofar as the amount allocated is concerned is actually that for 2018, the amount allocated is 5,000 pesos per unit, which covers close to, or thereabout, 179,000 of it all over the country. The entire amount actually is close to 1 billion, or to be exact, 977 million. As proposed, as mentioned earlier, as proposed for next year, it would be 4 times as much as of this year. No? So in terms of timeline of implementation, you have the program preparation, middle of the year, and then you have the pilot distribution of the first 10,000 cards in Metro Manila. We actually have put it up in the central office of the Land Transportation Office in East Avenue, Quezon City, but we intend to identify other card distribution centers all across Metro Manila, preferably where the PUJ operators are operating their routes. And the verification of beneficiaries and card distribution, at least insofar as the regional distribution is concerned, actually started August, and we started with the distribution yesterday, and our target would be within the quarter, on or before the end of September. As for some update on the regional distribution, we actually have started distribution in 9 regional offices. No? In Region 2, in Cagayan Valley, Region 4 in Mimaropa and Calabarzon, Region 6 in Iloilo, Region 7 Central Visayas, 8 in Tacloban, Eastern Visayas, 10 in Cagayan de Oro, Northern Mindanao, 11 in Davao Region, and 12 in Coronadal, South Cotabato. The figures are there as to the number of cards have been produced for distribution to these regions. The signing of the joint memorandum circular was done sometime July 11, 2018, which started off with the preparation and eventually the distribution of the cards. We have some photos on the distribution of the cards. First at the LTO central office, and then we also have it in the regional distribution centers in Davao, in the Tuguegarao, in Leyte, and in all other regions. So That's it for the update insofar as the Pantawid Pasada program is concerned.
Thank you, Chairman Martin Delgra. Question, MPC Bombo Raymond. Mike, please.
Sir, good morning, sir. Chairman, sir, so yung card could be used as an ATM card na pwedeng ipag-withdraw sa cash?
It's like this. Insofar as what we have discussed with Land Bank is concerned, it's a specially devised card for which it is for fuel purchases only. Okay, we have advised the PUJ operators that they are to go to the participating gas outlets with POS facilities. Kasi po, doon nila gagawin yung pagsaswipe ng card na yan doon sa mga gas stations.
So hindi ko ma-withdraw as cash?
Ano po?
Hindi ko ma-withdraw as cash. Halimbawa, kung ako yung operator o yung driver,
Apo.
ay gustong i-withdraw yung using that FOS yung sa kung saan pwedeng gamitin yung card. Hindi ko pwedeng i-withdraw as cash, kundi diesel lang talaga or gasoline yung ilalabas.
We have to use that in the gasoline stations insofar as the card is concerned. This is how it is. Insofar as the features of the Pantawid Pasada program is concerned, as mentioned earlier, the card itself will tell us that it is for fuel purchases only and that it is specific to the holder. Pangalawa, as mentioned earlier, when they get the card, they will have to sign the deed of undertaking. The deed of undertaking specifies two things: that they are to commit, that they are to use that for the purpose for which the law intended, which is to purchase fuel for their vehicle only. And if they do so for any other purpose, the possibility is that two things, either they get blacklisted or that they will ask to refund the money. So that's basically what we're telling them.
Yun yung sir, parang his word or your word, yung commitment, how could we possibly monitor, even lalo sa mga probinsya, na yun nga ay ginamit sa fuel purposes only?
Actually, we're getting report from Land Bank itself on a regular basis that there are a few violations made by the operator. And that's precisely why what we're telling the operators to be consistent with the program. Kasi para sa kanila naman ito. At tulong ito para doon sa PUJ, in fact. Ibig sabihin, hindi po sa ibang modes of public transport na binibigay ito. So kinikilala ng gobyerno na the PUJ is one vulnerable sector that we need to help. Insofar as yung pagbabiyahe nila is concerned. So that's the purpose of the law.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bombo Raymond. Jingy Batigado sa IBC, please. Benji, next.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Sir, have you decided what particular sanctions will you be imposing to those who actually misuse the money fuel?
The sanctions are already stated in the deed of undertaking. So basically, yung dalawa po. Blacklist and that they will be asked to refund.
Okay. Sir, in particular, i-follow up ko lang yung sinabi ni Raymond kanina, how the government can actually monitor the use of it na hindi siya magagamit sa corruption. Paano, sir? Paano nyo ma-i-ensure na talagang hindi siya magagamit?
I would just like to correct the word that you used, corruption. Okay. Actually, there would be no corruption.
Okay.
There might be I don't know if the proper word would be misused, but it would certainly not be corruption. But that said, as I've said, Land Bank would be able to monitor that on a regular basis. In fact, we're getting report on those things. As earlier, ano po?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Land Bank alone?
Because Land Bank is the one that takes care of the account of all these beneficiaries that are enrolled in the system.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jinky. Benji, Celerina, Joseph, and Pia. And after Pia, Chona. Benji, please.
Sir, good morning.
Hi.
Sir, dun sa yung tanong na may mga lumabag, were they informed na hindi ito pwedeng ipa-encash? Sometimes,
Yes,
yung,
actually. I'm sorry.
Yung kasing information is that lalo na sa probinsya eh. When you give them an
Apo.
ATM card, siyempre isa yung thinking nila is to get the money.
Apo. They have been informed. In fact, as mentioned, the regional directors were directed to engage the public on what the program is all about, and so that they would be able to inform the intended beneficiaries kung ano yung programa na yan. Pangalawa, when they go to the card distribution centers, the beneficiaries are actually informed of the contents of the undertaking before they are to sign the undertaking. So alam nila yung pinipirmahan nila na yung undertaking na yan.
Kasi most of them hindi naman nakatungtong din ng mga high school or college, yung pong ibang
I would not
driver.
I would not think that most of them would not know, because in the first place, for example, the fact that they were able to apply for a franchise and they went through the process of having to apply it. No, I mean, these are processes by which people of some level of intellectual maturity would have. No, so ibig sabihin, I would like to think that most, if not all of them, would be able to understand insofar as the program is concerned and the responsibility that you have to assume when you are to benefit from this program.
Is 5,000 enough for them for this year?
And so, if you are going to ask me about it, I really would not have a personal opinion insofar as the amount is concerned, But that has been arrived at insofar as I was informed by the Department of Finance in computing as to how much it might cost or it might affect the PUJ sector when the train law would come into effect.
As you were saying a while ago, yun next year po, bali 4 times?
As proposed po in the budget.
So that would be 20K for a year.
Yes,
5,000 per quarter.
Not necessarily. Just like what we did this year, the original idea was actually to spread it out for the rest of the year, when we started distributing it in July. But when we got guidance from Secretary Tugade, that since it's actually for fuel purchases anyway, and they're going to purchase it at any time, might as well give it at one time. So that's what happened. So perhaps that is also what's going to happen next year, if ever. But we will still have to review as to what will happen this year so that we'll be able to ensure a proper and effective implementation of the program for next year.
Okay, sir. What happened kung halimbawa bumaba yung fuel price sa market?
Opo.
I-recall din ba ito? Or
I will have to
ipagpapatuloy pa rin pa ba?
I will have to defer that question to the Department of Finance because it's actually a social mitigating measure under the train law. So I would hope that I would also be getting guidance from them.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Benji.
Thank you.
Celerina, Joseph, to be followed by Pia and Jonah.
Good morning, sir. Sir, you have mentioned that there were several violations reported already.
Opo.
May we know how many and from what regions and what kind of violations, and meron na bang na-penalize for those violations?
In terms of penalty po, we had the system, how do you put it, suspended. Ibig sabihin hindi na magamit.
So how many were suspended?
That I would not know yet as to the numbers, but there are only a few actually. I don't have the numbers at the moment. No?
Pero
But at the same time, yes, you were about to say something.
Saan po yung rampant? Sang area, sang region?
There were a few in Metro Manila and in Region 11.
You cannot give any figure, like estimate?
I could not give any figure for now. So, no.
Sir,
It was just reported to me insofar as the figures are concerned.
Sir, these cards are being given to the operators.
There was one unique situation perhaps that I can share you with that the operator was actually trying to use the card at a gas station, but apparently the gas station did not have any POS facility, no, as we would have wanted to, and inconsistent with the program. So what he did was, he withdrew money and then went to the gas station and then got the receipt and showed it to us. So basically, nagamit din for fuel purchases.
So it's not a violation.
So that's what I'm saying. Na obviously we want to stick to the program in terms of having to run it the way it should, no, technology-wise. No? But they still went through the process of having to use the money for fuel purchases.
But it's not a violation.
Well, because it was for fuel purchases.
Okay.
That's what-
Sir, you have mentioned that these cards were being given to the operators. There are operators na maraming jeep and they have their own drivers.
Apo.
So how could we be sure that the drivers would get the share of that? Kasi di ba ang mga drivers sila yung naglalagay ng gasolina or diesel dun
Apo.
sa jeepney. So
Okay.
paano po yun?
Okay, I like to answer that on two perspectives. Yung prangkisa covering PUJs po is almost 1:1. One unit, one franchise. So most of them are actually, most operators are actually the one driving. That is our thinking, no? Kasi nga 1:1. Yung sinasabi niyong situation na kung saan yung isang operator has more than one unit, eh siyempre he can only drive one unit at any time, and obviously he will have to rent out the other units to other drivers, no? He would have no use of that because that is also our instruction that they will have to give that to the drivers. Kasi hindi na, that is for fuel purchases also. And that would actually be when there is transaction at the gas station covering a particular card or a particular account, that would also register in the system. So we would be able to know compliance of the use of the cards.
Pero sir, one card per unit. Pero like for instance, yung card na yon, yung operator merong like 3 units.
Kaya nga,
He could use that card. Naka-indicate ba doon pag nag-purchase na pati yung plate number ng sasakyan
Opo.
nandun yung gumamit?
Opo. So ibig sabihin, pag gagamitin mo yung card, sa isang driver for example, gamit niya yung sasakyan niya, pagpunta niya dun sa gas station, kailangan yung plate number na nasa card should match the plate number of the vehicle that he was driving at the time. Those are among the features of ensuring compliance.
Okay.
Opo.
Okay na, Celerina. Thank you, Celerina. Joseph, please.
Sir, sa budget lang, for next year, can I get the exact figure? Kasi you said 4 times as much.
The figures as proposed actually is, can we have the, let me see here. For a while, it's 20,514 pesos
14.
per unit.
14.
14 per unit.
20,000.
But then again, but don't be fixated on the amount per unit. Kasi nga, as the number of units under franchise changes from time to time. No? Kasi merong mga prangkisa na nag-expire at saka hindi na nagre-renew, may nadagdagdag, yung mga ganon. So ito po, estimate lang ito. So that's why I was saying earlier na yung the proposed budget for next year would be more or less 4 times as much as this year.
All right, sir.
But as to the exact figure, I would rather not entertain the thought na kailangan merong yung exact figure per unit.
Okay, sir, but let's work with the 2514, right?
Yes, sir.
Divided by 365 days, that will be 56 pesos, sir, na subsidy daily.
Well, if that is the computation, that would arrive at.
So you think it's enough, sir, for a jeepney driver to have 56 pesos? Or is the idea pangdagdag lang talaga sa hindi siya yun?
Ganun nga talaga yung idea. Yung, it's really a fuel subsidy.
Hindi Hindi yung pangsagot sa problema nila.
Opo.
Okay. Sir, okay. Because yesterday we had a report po. Kasama nung isa naming reporter, yung isang driver. And ang common problem, I think, is that yung mga gasoline stations would not have the POS. So they went to maybe 3, and then dun sa 4th pa lamang na gas station, nagkaroon ng POS. So what do we do with that kind of situation?
We have, at first, we got that report also, much earlier, actually. Yes. And that we have talked to DOE and having to address that. We understand that I don't have the numbers that was given to me by DOE, but not all gas stations, participating or non-participating for that matter in the program, have POS facilities. But we have requested DOE na kung pwede, yung magpa-participate ng mga gas stations, ay merong yung mga POS facilities precisely to make it easy on the part of the beneficiaries to avail of the program.
Sir, talk to the drivers. Kung ganyan na meron silang difficulty, what can they do?
We will have, at the moment, I will have to review the, with DOE insofar as those concerns, specific concerns. No? But right now, we're actually saying that you need to go to the participating gas stations. There are about, if I'm not mistaken, about close to 2,000, no? 700, I'm sorry, but I don't have the figure on the participating gas stations. More than 1,000, more or less. We're talking about Petron, Chevron, Shell, Phoenix, Unioil, Sea Oil. So they're spread all over the country, actually.
Okay. Sir, so right now, wala talagang choice sa mga jeepney drivers. Kung walang POS, di pa tayo, no?
Apo.
Okay. So, sir, pwede ba yung kanina na situation na sinabi nyo na
We took exception to it, actually.
Okay. So, pwede, sir, na mag-withdraw using the land bank account. And then, where do they show the receipt that it's been used for fuel purchase?
No,
So,
because
halimbawa, sir, ako yung driver, no? Walang POS.
Because you can actually use the entire amount for fuel purchase. You can also use the same, in part. What I'm saying is that if you're going to buy fuel for X amount, you can probably use the card for lesser that X amount.
Yes, ang situation po, sir, is walang POS na available.
Yeah, I know.
And then now, kailangan na niyang bumiyahe, right? Ang madaling araw or ganun. Walang POS yung malapit na gas station sa kanya. Can he withdraw money from an ATM and then use that money to purchase the oil, the subsidy?
Actually, I cannot say that because that would be inconsistent with the program. But what I'm just saying earlier is that we took exception to it insofar as that situation is concerned.
But as a general rule, wag pong gamitin to withdraw.
Yes.
Kasi
That's basically what we're saying. That let's try to be consistent with the mechanics of the program. But let's not lose the spirit of it, which is actually tulong na rin doon sa mga POJ operators.
Yeah, but for the meantime, you will not encourage yung mga drivers to use the money to withdraw and then...
Because the propensity to use it for other things is there. No?
Okay, get it, sir. Sir, you mentioned 179,000 units, right?
179,000.
And of this number?
At the start, it is 179,852, as mentioned there. It's now down to still about 179, but lower than the number that we have projected there earlier.
Ano yun, sir, na lower than? Yung mga nagkuha na?
No, I'm talking about the units. I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
talking about the beneficiaries na kumuha na. I'm talking about the units. Kasi yung iba doon, as I've said, nag-expire o kaya hindi na nag-renew, yung mga ganun.
Pero sir, yung pong mga, teka lang, just have to take it. Mamaya na lang listen yan. Sir, dun sa 179 na intended beneficiaries, since you opened yung pagka-claim, how many have claimed?
Which one is that?
How many po from the 179 na units na targeted beneficiaries have availed of the Pantawid Pasada
We
program?
actually have started with the regional distribution yesterday. We're getting the numbers as of last night. Close to 2,000 already on the other regions. But hopefully we'll be able to get the operators to go to the distribution centers so that they'll be able to avail of the cards. By the way, we started with the distribution center yesterday, and it will continue until we will be able to give out the last cards.
Deadline, sir, para dun sa mga kababayan natin na mag-avail.
Ang deadline na binigay namin sa sarili namin is actually that we will be able to distribute everything or all of it on or before the end of September. So nananawagan kami dun sa mga operators na pupunta na dun sa mga regional distribution centers sa kanilang mga lugar so that they would be able to get the cards and avail of the benefit.
Okay. Thank you, Joseph. Pia, please. Joseph, Mike, please.
Hi, sir. Sir, the subsidies are also applicable to jeepneys who have converted to CNG or LNG or CNG?
It's applicable to all except, of course, Egypt. Actually, meron tayong prangkisa na Egypt. Even before we assume office, meron na mga Egypt tumatakbo rito sa Metro Manila. Konti nga lang. But we're actually encouraging it because it's very environment friendly. Zero emission.
Pero sir, yung mga jeepneys na nag-convert na to natural gas, applicable pa rin po ba sa kanila yun?
So long as you buy. Kasi yung fuel naman, although most of the PUJs are using diesel, but some of them are also into gasoline. So anything that will require the purchase of fuel for their unit would fall under this program.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pia. Last three questions. Chona, Christina, Benji, and apat. Joyce.
Sir, quick follow-up kay Pia. Paano yung mga multicab, sir? Sa mga probinsya, di ba mas maraming ganun?
Actually, konti lang ang numbers na multicab.
Kasama sila or hindi?
PUJ kasi nakalagay eh. But, opo.
So, hindi?
Opo.
Okay. Tapos, sir, anong reason nung 5 regions, bakit sila na late sa distribution ng card?
It's just a matter of yung sa card production po because it takes some time to produce the cards. By the way, yung card production would start with the submission of the list by LTFRB to Land Bank and Land Bank to verify it. It takes a while for Land Bank to verify each and every cards in every account before they will mass produce the cards in each region. And by the way, kasi yung when they produce the cards, they will already have to put that or assign that to the bank where the distribution will take place. So even if, for example, in the case of Region 4, there might be several card distribution centers all across the region, and they will enroll that. The cards will be enrolled in the land bank where the cards will be distributed, and that's a little bit more focus kasi nga, especially sa Mimaropa, where there are a number of island provinces that you have to deal with.
Sir, yung mga hindi sumusunod, like yung mga na blacklist na, tapos, or i-refund, will the government file charges dead sa kanila?
We'll take it from there po. We have not made any decision yet.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chona.
Okay.
Chairman, last 4 questions. Okay.
Sige po.
Christina, Benji, Joyce, and last, Joseph. Back to Joseph.
Yes, Chairman. In addition po sa nabanggit niyo po regarding yung sa card production po, yung land bank po ba, magdadagdag po ba sila ng additional security features per card para po in the future ma-ensure talaga na hindi na ito magagamit para makapag-withdraw ng pera sa ATMs except for sa activation lang po talaga ng mga cards?
That is also being considered po. Tama po kayo.
Thank you po.
No more follow-up, Christina. Benji, back to Benji. Mike,
Sir,
Yes.
why ATM card, not fleet card? Most of the companies right now are using fleet cards.
Opo. Then we would be more focused on the, what do you call that? On the company that owns the card. Kasi po ito, yung Pantawid Pasada, as you can see in the list, is participated in by several oil companies. The fleet card is actually specific to the oil companies.
Specific. Okay.
So
But
that
did
was
you consider
we discussed about it, but it was a restriction on the part of having to effectively implement the program.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Benj. Joyce?
Sir, magkano sa budget natin next year ang allotted for the Pantawid Pasada program?
You can probably make your own computation on 4 times as much as this year. So thereabout.
20 times 179.
Yes. Or 977 million times thereabout 4. Kasi po yung budget for this year is 977 million.
For the Pantawid Pasada
For the
program
Pantawid
alone?
Pasada program.
Okay. So in relation to that
But
question...
as I've said, nothing is final until Congress approves the budget. I'll have to make that. I have to make that statement. That's just being proposed for now.
Sir, I asked about the budget because Senator Grace po was interviewed last Monday and she said that magiging mahigpit daw po ang Senado pagdating sa pagbusisi ng budget, particularly sa PUV modernization and Pantawid Pasada.
Apo.
She came from an event led by Piston and No to Jeepney Phase Out Coalition, and marami pong mga jeepney drivers, actually lahat sila nagsabing hindi sila nakakatanggap ng fuel vouchers. So sabi ni Senator Poe, kailangan madepensahan maigi ng LTFRB ang budget, ang laki ng budget natin vis-a-vis yung mga reklamo ng jeepney drivers and operators.
Okay. First of all, this budget is not actually coming from the budget of LTFRB or DOTR. No? As mentioned, this is the budget coming out from the train law. And the fund was downloaded to DOTR and eventually to LTFRB as the implementing agency for this particular program. Now, second, insofar as the distribution is, of the cards is concerned, I'd like to make mention again that the card distribution is actually ongoing insofar as NCR is concerned at the central office of the LTO at East Avenue, Quezon City. Even that, as we have mentioned earlier, we're going to identify key card distribution centers all across Metro Manila for easy access to the PUJ operators, no, kung saan pwede makakuha sila ng card. We're thinking of yung mga high volume routes of where PUJ apply so that we will identify places na good enough to accommodate a large number of people and near an ATM kasi yun yung requirement ng land bank. Para lang pagkatapos na matanggap yung pera, ma-activate na nila yung account. So we're looking to planning and putting in place a scheme by which we'll be able to multiply the number of card distribution centers in Metro Manila.
So sir, accidental lang yung sinasabi ng mga drivers and operators from Piston and No to Jeepney Phase Out Coalition na walang ni isa sa kanila ang nakakatanggap nito? Hindi naman sila yung parang excluded?
That I would not know. Hindi naman po. Hindi naman
They're not
po.
excluded.
Wala naman tayong... I would like to disabuse the mind, no? Especially of the POJ operators, na yung nasa listahan lang po ang makakatanggap because that is being consistent with the law, no? The law says that qualified legitimate franchise holders. So kung ano pong nandoon, as mentioned, there are about mga 179,000 PUJs all over the country. Sila po yung makakatanggap. No? So it doesn't matter kung saan ka, anong affiliation mo, no? So long as you are a legitimate PUJ franchise holder. Yun lang po ang qualification of a beneficiary under this program. So again, inuulit ko na kung sino pa yung hindi nakakatanggap, punta lang po kayo doon sa central office ng LTO, East Avenue, Quezon City. And for the regional distribution centers, please call your regional offices of the LTFRB where you are located for further information.
Sir, last question na lang
Apo.
from me. Sir, doon sa PUV modernization program ng government, sinabi rin po ni Senator Poe na masyado maliit daw po yung 80,000 pesos na down payment na ibibigay ng government para sa at least more than 1 million peso worth na bagong unit ng jeep.
Apo.
Malulubog daw po sa utang at interest ang mga driver. Pwede daw po bang taasan yung halaga na binibigay na down payment?
In so far as the amount is concerned, no, it's actually Congress who approves of the amount that we will give to subsidized, because this is actually a equity subsidy, no, under the PUV modernization program, and we welcome that very much, insofar as having to even help and assist our PUJ sector. In fact, by the way, if this is the only, under the PUVMP, the financial component of the program addresses only the PUJ sector. Wala po tayo sa ibang modes of public transport. Kaya kung ano pang tulong na pwede nating ibigay, no? Ibigay natin, no? And insofar as what Senator Poe have said, we welcome that very much, and we welcome the support of Congress, no? Kung ano pang dagdag tulong na pwede nating maibigay under the PUVMP. What I would just like to say, that we have been saying this all along, no? Under the Department of Transportation and the LTFRB, and even of the President no less, na itutuloy natin itong modernization program na ito. Matagal na po nating inaasam-asam, matagal na po nating inihintay ito, no? Para sa ating mga mananakay, milyon-milyon na mananakay po. So whatever help that we can give to them, so that we will be able to address this, no? And succeed in fully implementing this modernization program na matagal na nating hinihintay.
Thank you, Joyce. Last question, Joseph Morong. Sige na muna.
Sir, just a clarification again dun sa earlier question ni Joseph about you discouraging the use or the withdrawal, kumbaga parang reimbursement, right? The withdrawal from the card and then use it to purchase. I mean, some jeepney operators who may be listening now might say, pero you took exception to one case. So why can't we do it? Is it going to be a strict no na lang po talaga? Kasi if you say discourage, it's not strictly
we will
no.
just take it on a case-to-case basis. Kasi mahirap naman na... diba?
What is it really? Is it a no? They can't?
I'm sorry?
They cannot do that again? You will not tolerate, you will not take exception?
We would like to be
anymore?
consistent with the mechanics of the program to ensure effective implementation. No? Yun lang ang pwede nating sabihin na para you would be able to ensure it. No?
So, bawal po nila gawin yun?
Ano po?
So, bawal po nila gawin yun?
No, we just want to be consistent with the implementation of the program. So, kasi nga nakalagay doon sa undertaking nila, no? And the deed of undertaking that they have signed says that they are to commit the use of the card for fuel purchases only.
So, pwede. if they give the receipt, they used
only.
it for...
No, fuel purchases only.
So, if they give receipts...
Ano po?
But the mode can either be withdraw and then purchase later.
If they have receipts to prove that they did buy it, use the money for fuel, technically, it's a fuel purchase.
That's precisely what we're saying. Na insofar as having to use the money for that purpose, pwede po yung gano'n, ano? Pero the way we look at it kasi, pagdating sa withdrawal sa land bank, mafa-flag yan eh.
And also,
if you're going to use it not from a facility of a participating gas station, mafa-flag ng land bank. What I'm saying is that there are exceptions, yes. But let it not be said na yung exception magiging general rule. That's just what I'm saying. So kaya nga ang sinasabi natin dito na yung consistency ng ang implementation ng batas is that if you're going to go to the participating gas station, use the POS facility, makikita ng system ng land bank yan that there was proper compliance or use of the card.
Oo nga, sir, sorry
Apo.
But if they have a receipt to show that they used it to buy fuel and then they give it to LTFRB,
Apo.
pwede ba yun?
That's precisely why we're saying we take exception to that.
So, pwede.
Apo. Ano po? If they can do that, that's what precisely why I'm saying that we are going to take exception to it because it's still consistent with the spirit of the law. So, ano.
So, sir,
But in
allowed,
terms
sir.
of monitoring the use of the card, no, it goes against the beneficiary. Yan ang sinasabi ko.
So,
kasi
kumbaga, sir,
nga,
ano na lang,
mapa-flag sila doon sa system eh.
if they insist on doing that, it might risk them losing their cards.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yun.
saying.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we're trying to help you, sorry. No, kasi parang we're coming from the perspective of hindi naman nila fault na walang mga POS yung mga gas stations, right? So, okay, taking off again from Ina's point of view. Okay, ang point that you're trying to make is that you can do it at your own risk. Tama ba? Na parang pwede ka, pero mahabang proseso yan, makikita yan ng land bank, and then i-justify mo pa kung bakit hindi ka nakaganon. Tama? Can we just get a soundbite on the policy on the withdrawal, sir?
The use of the card has to be consistent with the program. And the way to monitor the program is that you are to use that in the participating gas stations for buying fuel. As mentioned in the law, it is for fuel purchases only. No? So that's basically what it is, for proper monitoring. No? In occasions, as you said, na merong walang POS, that's the one that we're trying to work out with DOE, the Department of Energy, insofar as the gas stations, participating gas stations are concerned. No? So, if ever, I'm looking at Joseph now. No, because as I've said, mahirapan kasi when they're going to commit for the use of the card to use it as fuel purchases, and then they're going to use it for some other purpose by going to an ATM and have it withdrawn. Oh. And that would be a flag in the system insofar as the land bank is concerned, and they will report it to us. So it might be good that for them, kung talagang ginamit nila yan, they probably have to show proof na ginamit nila for fuel purchases.
So, kumbaga, they can, but medyo komplikado, no?
Precisely, the process might take a little longer for them to prove otherwise because they themselves committed to use the card the way it should.
Meaning risky.
I'm sorry?
Risky on their part, no?
I don't want to use risk. No, I don't want to use the word risk. But we just want to be consistent with how we're going to implement the program.
Okay, so maybe related topic. When do you solve that problem of gas stations not having POS? Kasi parang you're going to implement this. I don't think the distribution is the problem, you know? But yung pagkuha ng benepisyo, yun yung medyo problema. Didn't you prepare for the number of gas stations that would need the POS?
No, actually, one of the things that we have discussed with DOE during the technical working group meetings that we had was precisely to address this issue. And yung may mga POS facility, because the card is to be used using the POS facility of the gas stations. So, yun ang gusto nating klaruhin sa Department of Energy, kung yung mga participating gas stations ba ay merong mga POS. As you said, na merong mga gas stations na wala. Na.
Okay, sir. So, kung halimbawa naman, gas station ako na owner, no? And kunyari, meron akong POS, but I don't want it to be used for the Pantawid Pasada program. That's an illegal act, right? I deny a driver to use the Pantawid Pasada card in my
Because you're
gas
not
station.
a participating gas station.
I am. Okay. So,
The premise of your question, because you're not a participating gas station.
may ganun kayo na inalaw na...
Hindi, because if you are not, then yung gas station na yan can decline.
Bakit may pinayagan kayo, sir, na hindi sumama? If you want to help drivers.
I know. Actually, we're inviting as many. through the Department of Energy, we're inviting as many gas stations to participate para mas malawak yung options ng mga PUJ operators. Kung paano.
Kasi sir, yung sa data nyo, 1, 2, 3 lang na gas stations ang nationwide na pwede for the Pantawid, right?
Ano po?
3 lang sir yan, Shell, Petron, and then Phoenix.
Apo.
All the others, yung halimbawa, Caltex yung gas niya.
Hindi namin, I just like to again correct the impression. Hindi natin pinagbabawal. In fact, we're inviting more gas stations to participate in the program.
Yes, exactly. But hindi na lang mandatory, sir, na all gas stations in the Philippines would have to honor the Pantawid Pasada program.
We'll have to take it up with the DOE regarding that. Kasi,
okay, sir. So
we did discuss that with DOE together with the Association of Oil Companies, no? So siguro we'll have to get back to them.
Okay, Secretary Cusi.
Salamat po.
Sir, ano lang last? 179 franchise holders, no? So 1:1. So 179 franchises, yes?
Apo. More or less. It's actually, if you be detailed about it, it's 1.3 units per franchise.
Okay. Sir, ilan yung mga kolorum?
Obviously, wala ang mga kolorum.
Hindi, I mean from our streets.
We would not have a number as regards
You
that.
don't? Okay.
Okay. Okay, maraming salamat MPC, maraming salamat LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgra.
Thank you
Back to
very
main
much.
studios of Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.